Hello friends, this is a quick tutorial on how to make some sort of a padlock system for your game. Let's see how it works first. Like we have this, I don't have any kind of like real object for it, but press on that, you get this system that you can change the number on the padlock, like so. So how I did it was, basically I just have a menu with these buttons. This looks weird because it uses the variables for their like text, but like I have a menu named padlock. Then it has 5 elements. 4 of them are the buttons. Padlock 1, 2, 3, 4. And each of them has a button text of this specific variable. You should use global variables because it's a menu and you can use it anywhere. So have your variables be the type of integer and initial value of 0 and replacement token. You want to copy these from all of these to your different buttons in your menu. So we have 4 buttons here for the 4 digits. And also you should have a button that you can use to close the menu. And when we go to activate this padlock object here, we have just a box with a hotspot on it. And when we use it, we get this. We constrain the player's free aiming and cursor lock. We set the padlock A to be used so we could basically have many different padlocks in the same scene, because the variable, like the correct number, is checked every time variable changes on the scene. So we set this so we can have different padlocks and then just turn on the menu. So when we click the different buttons, for example padlock 1, we make an action list to run for it, and it's this simple. We set the variable of the padlock 1 value, increase it by 1, and if it ever gets to more than 9, we set it back to 0. That's all there needs to be. And for the other buttons, have the different variable token here, and it's the same, but we just change the variables to be the second value here. Everything else is the same. Just change the different variable for each of the buttons. And each of the buttons have their own action list with their own padlock values here. So, when do we check the number? We go and make an onVar change action list on the scene. And here we check if the padlock A is being used. So that's why we made this. And then we run in the scene the check number action list. There are a lot of different action lists, but don't worry. It's quite simple still. So here we use the padlock. We went through this, we lock it. These action lists set the number, and then every time that some number is changed, this runs, and then this checks the number. So we just set some random combination. We check if the padlock 1 value is 3, we check if the padlock 2 value is 6, padlock 3 is 8, and padlock 4 is 1. Then, if all of these are checked true, we turn off the padlock menu, we turn off the setting for the, like, if we are using this padlock A, we just turn it to false, and then we do whatever we want to do to our object. For me, this just opens basically the lid of the box. And then we return the free aiming and cursor lock constraint to be enabled. So we can move our camera again. So when we go and play, We go to the padlock, we click on that, it opens the menu. We can close the menu always here, we can click on the numbers to change them. And it remembers them. The value was 3, 6, 8 and 1, right? Close it and it opens the padlock. And yeah, it does it again because you have to set it to be, you have to disable the hotspot when you, or change the actions of the hotspot when you've done this. It just now goes forever. That's quite funny. Okay, let's see the check number. When everything is okay, we should turn off the menu. So basically, if we pause the game, then it only goes through this when we close the menu itself. I guess that's fine. So it's like basically you should add your own audio cues. So like this could be like not close, but like try to open it basically. So what was it? It was 3, 6, 8 and 1. So like it doesn't immediately open because this menu pauses the game, but when we close it, then it opens. And then you should like change, like check number. We should like set another thing here, like another variable. Set. We could use local here because this is a local hotspot. You should always use local variables always when you can. Padlock A open, and that we will set to true. And when we use the padlock again, after it's opened, we have to add a check to the very front. Move the front, and if the condition is not met, run the basic opening the menu, and then you should add here like add whatever you want to have, like a dialogue that hey, it's open and you get this item. Yes, cool. Okay, yeah. So that's, I hope this is like you can like really understand what I'm doing here, because I'm doing everything so fast. But yeah, it's quite simple. You just have many different action lists and variables that you have to use with this. So we have a menu for the padlock. We have different buttons. How many buttons you need to have for the padlock, you determine that here. Like you can just remove one of these. If you want to have a 3 or 4 digit padlock, you could just copy this menu and remove one of the buttons. And for the check, when we're checking the numbers, just remove one of the checks and you should be fine. And like every time, like for example, when we actually get this opened on the check number hotspot, when we get it open, we should reset. If we have different padlocks that you can activate in each, like in the same scene, I think you should always, if you're using the same variables for each padlock, then you should always reset them to their values and just check when you reactivate them, just check which padlock is being used by a different variable. So that way, when you use this specific padlock and set a number there, the same number won't be visible on the other padlock you're using. So you should always reset your padlock numbers to 0. Padlock 1, padlock 2, padlock 3, and padlock 4. We can do it on the check number. It resets them once it's opened, right? And we can just go to the padlock menu and action list when turn on. We can make that and paste the reset number here. So that way the number won't reset before we have actually opened the padlock. And if you want to have like you could have an up arrow here and down arrow here and just have this be a text, a label. And you have the buttons as the arrows, so you could just roll the digits up and down. You just add them. It's a bit different, but still this just adds to the value like +1, the same as just clicking on this. And the down is -1 from the value. And then this check will check if it's like under 0, then it will go back to 9. Okay, yeah, that's the tutorial. It's very quick and very fast. If you have any questions, please let me know.